Hello. So, a friend of mine recently relapsed, and we were talking and trying to help him identify some of his old patterns. Uh, because we were talking about self-sabotaging behavior and how if nothing changes, nothing changes. You can change the external routine, you can change the job, you can change the car, all that crap. I know my room's a mess. I'm in the process of packing up his shit actually. But And to give an example of how powerful the subconscious mind is, you know, um, not just this particular program, but other programs I've been in, they stress changing a lot. Um, and I mean everything, including the music you listen to, things you read, things you watch, because a lot of it just reinforces old programming, to use a more neutral term. Um, And I gave him an example of, when he started to mentally slip, which was about 6 months ago, maybe a little longer, maybe a little less, give or take. He had recently engaged in a romantic relationship with a person. Um, and in doing so, fell back onto old patterns, which is not too surprising. Most addicts, specifically substance abuse addicts, anytime you abuse a substance, um, you emotionally stop growing. So when you then quit and you get into recovery emotionally, you're as old as you were when you started. So it's very easy to fall back into these old patterns of what you're attracted to and how you attract it. Um, so that in combination with all kinds of other little things, other particular patterns, his sleeping habits had changed. The music he listened to had started to change. He started to go back to stuff he listened to as a teenager, because unfortunately this is where he was at emotionally. Um, and I've experienced this myself. I truly have. Um, so because of that, he of course is now projecting, radiating a certain frequency or a certain vibration. And the way the universe works, in the physical, opposites attract, but in the energetic world, the metaphysical, likenesses attract to varying degrees. You do have opposite attraction when it comes to energy as well, but it has different layers to it. I'll get into more of that some other time. But the point being is, this is what he attracted. So, of course, he just fell back into a repeating pattern. This is what we call a karmic cycle, and or a karmic relationship or a karmic person. Doesn't mean they're bad. No, it just means there's a particular lesson there, usually an emotional, energetic, and spiritual lesson that you have yet to learn or learn all aspects of it. So you repeat it. Sometimes you repeat it just because you're on autopilot. Once that subconscious brain kicks in and you just start going through the routines and emotions, you're going to fall back onto whatever you used to do to survive. This is the core of a relapse, a true relapse. Now, if you've already had reservations and other things going on, you weren't in sobriety enough to even relapse. You just paused. at that point. Um, and of course, this varies from degree to degree, from person to person. So don't be afraid to change everything. It's not that you're incapable, it's that it's unknown. And the funny part about that, especially with addicts in recovery, is that, a lot of times in early recovery, you don't know what you like. So you just go back to what you used to like as a kid or whatever, you know, because you haven't emotionally grown in so long, you've been stagnant or stunted, is a better word to put. Um, you haven't developed your tastes. Find new things. This is why it's so important to, get the whole support group and all that other stuff. And you know, you need different input to get different output. Um, so, yeah, food for thought.